Welcome to Casualty Connect, our video series at the intersection between artificial intelligence and the property and casualty insurance industry. I'm Frank Giaoui, the founder and CEO of Optimalex. And today with me is John Sly. John is a partner at the law firm Waranch and Brown from the Baltimore, Maryland area. John's practiced law for almost 30 years, specializing in medical malpractice defense. He has been the president of the Maryland Defense Council organization and has lectured at various healthcare facilities and law schools. Over the last number of years, John has focused on the intersection of artificial intelligence and the legal and medical fields. John, welcome.
Thank you very much.
What is one of the parts of insurance defense work that is a real pain point for lawyers and insurers?
Frank, first of all, thank you very much for having me chat. There is no question, as a lawyer who's been practicing for so many years, that it's the claims process. It is the reporting back and forth with the insurance company. And frankly, I don't think there's any question that both the claims people internally at insurance companies and the lawyers out in the practice absolutely hate this practice. It is inefficient. It's slow. Oftentimes, I think both sides feel like the information that's needed isn't actually being focused on. So I think that's probably, if there's any, that's a primary pain point.
Okay. So you said it's inefficient. Can you mention some of the biggest inefficiencies in this process?
Absolutely. So one of the things, and I think it's probably historical, is that insurance companies, by necessity, have created forms and different processes by which the lawyers need to report back information that is going on in litigation. And of course, that's necessary. Both the claims people need it and the lawyers understand they need it. The problem is the forms are usually very flat, meaning non-interactive, and sometimes not even specific to the particular case. They're repetitive, and they oftentimes don't even get to the heart of what really is at issue in that particular case. Because what we really want to try to get to, and I think everybody would agree, both lawyers and claims people, is actionable items that allow the insurance company to properly assess the case and the lawyers to work closely with the insurance company to develop new strategies and tactics to get the best result.
All right, all right. So now that we understand that claims handling is probably the biggest inefficiency, how can we improve this? And how can AI help streamline the claims reporting between attorneys and carriers?
Yeah, I think there are a number of ways that artificial intelligence can play a role here. And I know, and I've reviewed the Optimalex platform, and I appreciate you guys giving me that opportunity. I think one of the things is that there is real time back and forth, which simply doesn't exist right now in the flat reporting processes. And what that means is that the claims people can see in real time what I'm doing, and I can see in real time what the claims people need and need follow up on. Then there's immediate updating of the algorithms to assess the case so that we're all on the same page. I think it also makes it feel that the lawyer is actually adding value to get to a good solution. And maybe most importantly for the claims people and the lawyers, it can substantially cut down the times. Now, one of the things that I think also people might not think about is AI allows for auto population of data in a way that simply doesn't exist now. And what I'm talking about is information relating to the identities and backgrounds of the individuals involved, the litigants, maybe even the judges, maybe the jurisdictions, maybe the lawyers with whom we're interacting. So there are different characteristics, strengths, and weaknesses of all of those things. That can really happen in real time. Real case tracking allows the carrier in real time to see what's going on. And I think AI can very, very effectively and efficiently help both the adjusters and the attorneys digest information so that they can result in things that both sides can act on so that informed decisions can be made to move the case forward and get to the best result possible.
Right. You alluded to two different parts of artificial intelligence. The workflow assistance, which is essentially helping on mundane manual tasks of data structuring, summarizing documents, etc., but also the more predictive analytics part. Let's go deeper into the predictive analytics. What are the key ways AI can assist in assessing claims once they are reported?
Well, Frank, I think this might be the most exciting aspect of artificial intelligence in this application and in general. And so, for those people who aren't familiar with what we're chatting about, the ability of AI to analyze mass data in a way that has never been available before. So, this is not something that's just better than what used to be. This is something new because AI exists. Mass data can be analyzed, and then AI can actually make predictions off of that data to help decision makers understand what is likely to occur. In a statistics way, you have a lot of variables out there, and there hasn't been a very good way to assess, well, if I move this lever a little bit, if I push a little harder on this motion, or if I get this judge, or if I'm in this jurisdiction, or maybe that's this plaintiff's lawyer, where that plaintiff looks like this, or my doctor looks like that, how does that impact the outcome of a case? Well, there's really been no way to, in a data way, come to any kind of resolution prior to AI. And artificial intelligence can do things like the following: can flag high risk claims early. One of the most important things that I know insurance companies and underwriters are absolutely concerned about. And when I say insurance companies, I'm not speaking purely about the commercial insurers out there, although they're obviously very important. But a lot of very large organizations, healthcare companies, and otherwise, are self-insured at least to a substantial amount and have major self-insured retentions. And they want to know, because it's absolutely necessary, is this the kind of case that's going to blow through my money, that put me at risk? And AI predictive analysis can really help in that. But it goes beyond that because it can be very much more, I think, actionable on a daily basis. It can assess in ways that we've never been able to do things like, what if I want to file a Daubert motion? Is that going to be effective in this jurisdiction before this judge? And as data becomes more robust and granular, I suspect that AI will be able to even predict that before Judge Sly, these kinds of arguments in the Daubert motion will be more effective, and don't argue to him this because he really doesn't like that. There also can be things like assessing attorney success rates in particular areas and on particular issues, jurisdictional risks that not only can assist insurers on the back end of, I now have a claim and I'm trying to assess, but also on the front end of, what is the underwriting risk? How should I price that insurance? What kind of things should I be thinking about? And I think, and I meant use this term very intentionally, as the data becomes more and more granular, more and more specific, we'll see lawyers and claims professionals being able to assess strategies, motions, and then end up with a much better result. One other thing that I would mention, and I think this is maybe the most exciting thing for me as a litigator for over 30 years, is assessing value of a case and the likelihood of winning or losing. Because then when you go into a mediation, I am in a much better position if I have a really good databasis for understanding my risk and the value of the case. And if I can share that information in a way that doesn't reveal unnecessarily all my strategies to the mediator, I've now given that mediator enormous leverage to get a better result for me vis-a-vis the other side.
Okay, well, you are drawing an ideal picture of AI. Let's be honest, there are also some concerns. Our clients are concerns, for instance, of, will AI replace my job, replace legal judgment or insurance expertise? So before moving on to the concerns, legitimate, let's first discuss the collaboration. How does AI impact, improve possibly the attorney carrier collaboration?
Yeah, so one of the interesting things, Frank, is I'm already using this, as is our firm, in ways that are much more basic. So using the chat GPTs or perplexities, or for those people out there who know Gemini and some of these other things. I know obviously Optimalex is a much more robust integrated platform that brings different things in. Um, but even in the limited way that we've been using it, we are able to assess uh, motions, cases. So we'll get a case report out of a court and run it through ChatGPT. Through its now, by the way, for those people who aren't aware, ChatGPT and Perplexity now have a deep learning option, which will literally go in depth. It can analyze motions. It is incredibly powerful in helping us as a tool. You mentioned in terms of collaboration. Well, we have worked with literally, so this is not me thinking about this, but I've worked with insurers, one in particular in my mind, where we've been using AI to assess motions and arguments made by the other side and how best then to respond and break them down. And the claims professional can then use those uh, materials that we are providing them to better assess the case and report back to the people that they need to answer to, right? My job as a trial lawyer, in some ways, in relationship with the claims person, is my job is to make that claims person's job easier, right? I want it to be productive and easier so that they can get a good result. And using AI even today is helpful. Now, what I will say is that it can assess, reduce data processing, data entry. I think it's going to improve results. And as I mentioned before, I think let's think hypothetically, if through the pendency of a case, I'm working with the claims person using AI prediction and trying to do things in a very productive way, data driven, and then we're at a mediation, we know that we have analyzed that case in a very logical way and we have very clear arguments to make to a mediator on the other side. We can then empower that mediator to make the arguments that we think are powerful, and then they can get a better result for us. So I think all of those things helps not only the lawyer but the claims professional work together in a collaborative way to result in better outcomes.
Yeah, what we have experienced with our clients is, of course, there is the latest generation called LLM, generative AI. Some, more established technologies of AI, including machine learning and natural language processing, are also giving good results, and mixing those technologies while keeping human expertise, human claims expertise, insurance expertise, legal expertise, and mixing all is the best way to get more efficiency and also better results. Now, let's talk a little bit about the challenges or concerns that you as an attorney or maybe your clients have about using AI in claim assessments. What are they?
Yeah, so I don't think there's any question that the number one concern among lawyers and claims professionals is the security of data. We've all heard the nightmare stories. I've done a number of presentations around the country on the application of AI to the legal medical fields. And the number one concern I hear, and the number one thing that I focus on with people, is that they need to make sure that whatever platform they're using respects the personal health information under HIPAA, but also as the lawyer, client information. This is critical. Once you put data out into a publicly available database and it goes into the large language model, the LLM, about which you referenced, that can't be extracted and it's then available. So we need to be careful as professionals to be ensuring that whatever platform we're using is not only robust and getting a good result, but is protective of that client data. And of course, in my world, in medical malpractice, I'm privy to the personal medical information of the other side. And while we may be in litigation and it's a contrarian type of approach, I absolutely take seriously, and I know all lawyers do, the protection of that individual's medical records. It is our obligation professionally to do so. And so we need to be very careful. There's also something that I think maybe the people who are a little more statistically um, adept would have already thought about, but others might not. We have to be careful about biases in the data. And this doesn't mean that an AI is prejudiced like a human being. It's not that. But data is historical by its very nature. And what we need to be careful of is that the data that the AI is learning from is not somehow skewed. And that's what I mean by the bias, that we want to make sure that the data is robust, broad, and not biased because we don't want it leading us to an incorrect result because there's some flaw in the data. And I'll give you a very a simple example is there was a very, very large computer company who got into big trouble because they started using an AI internally to assess curriculum vitae for people who were being applicants to their jobs. Well, they were running it through their AI. Sounds great, right? Well, the problem is they were using data that extended over a 50-year period.
Oh,
Well, 40, 50 years ago, women weren't in the workforce as much. So the AI was kicking out otherwise qualified women. And not because the company was prejudiced, they wanted those female applicants. It's the data underneath it was unfortunately biased. And we need to be very careful about that for ethical reasons, but also for results reasons.
absolutely, yes. So we are coming to the close of our discussion, and maybe as a wrap up, John, would you mind sharing with us how do you see the future of AI-driven collaboration in medical malpractice defense?
Well, I think it's literally going to now be the standard of care. And I mean that using the term because that's how we talk about what our doctor clients do. And if you're a plaintiff's lawyer on the other side, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is very rapidly going to become you either do it or you're no longer in the game. And Frank, you mentioned before, is AI going to take my job? No. But if I don't adopt and understand AI, it will. So I think it's going to be standard of care. I think there's going to be a seamless integration as we move forward between legal case management systems and carrier platforms. I think that's already happening and it's going to be necessary. And I think our clients, both the insurance companies and the large healthcare entities, and if even if you're not in medical malpractice, you representing Ford or whatever, they're going to demand this because they're using AI already. I think, as I've alluded to, AI-driven settlement optimization tools will absolutely refine and define negotiation strategies because it not only will help us understand where we're going, it'll give the tools to help the mediator get the best results. But then on the back end, everyone is going to assess using AI how efficient was the process? Did the result? What could we have done differently? And then I think, one of the things that we always have to remember is that in litigation, while over 90% of cases are settled, and rightfully so, we do go to trial. I've tried over 100 multi-week trials over my career, some extending over months. And I think what will happen is by using AI and understanding the strategies and why we got to where we are, the attorneys carry greater alignment on the risk and the litigation strategy. And the lawyer and the claims professional, when we go to trial, will be able to justify their prior approach. And I think also because we've been able to very logically assess the case, come up with the best trial strategies and methods to win when it comes right down to it. So, to put a little cherry on top, it is not going to be a tool that we also use. I think AI will be an integral part of everything we do, including the case management program.
Well, thank you very much, John. That was our distinguished guest speaker today, John Sly, a partner at the law firm Waranch and Brown. I am Frank Giaoui, CEO and founder of Optimalex. And we'll see you to our next episode of Casualty Connect, our video series at the intersection between AI and property and casualty insurance. Thank you, and talk to you soon.